The reaction to two controversial comedy specials over the Christmas holidays has shown that the dreaded culture wars are going nowhere in 2024. The latest Ricky Gervais special, Armageddon, and David Chappelle's The Dreamer have topped the Netflix charts, but also caused a furious backlash from critics. Here's a clip from both.
I've been doing a lot of video messages recently for terminally ill children. You know the charity Make-A-Wish Foundation? They're great, and they give these dying kids their, one wish. And if it's me, I always say yes, and I always start the video the same way. I go, "Why didn't you wish to get better?" What, you retarded as well?
I ain't doing trans jokes no more. You know what I'm gonna do tonight? Tonight, I'm doing your own handicap jokes. Well, they're not as organized as the gays. And I love punching down.
One critic labelled Gervais' special tiresome adolescence offence-mongering, while civil rights advocacy group the National Black Justice Coalition called on Netflix to remove the Chappelle special from their catalogue altogether. So, should comedy always punch up rather than down, or are comedians free to say whatever they want, even if it offends? Joining me now are commentator and YouTuber Dave Rubin, comedian James Barr, and here in the studio, Talk TV contributor Paula Roan Adrian. Thank you all for being with me. Let me start with you, Dave Rubin, over in Miami. Do you think this is a case of sort of crossing the line, or is everything fair game in comedy?
Well, of course, everything's fair game, and it's the job of a good comic to get as close to that line as you possibly can, say something true, and then through humor, allow people to laugh at it. And when you poke fun at different groups, what you're doing is showing everybody that we're all equal parts of society. Chappelle and Gervais are two of probably the top 10 comics of all time, but you need only look at a comedy legend, a guy like Don Rickles, who used to walk up in front of the crowd in any part of any country and say, "Look at the black guy, the Jew, the gay guy, the Italian, the WASP, the rest of it." And what it did was everybody realized they were in on the joke, that we are a multicultural society. And if we can all poke fun at our silly stereotypes and everything else, then we will actually figure out ways to build bridges. But everybody these days seems to want to burn those bridges down and make it seem that our skin color and our religion is the most important thing about us.
James, over there in Chicago, where do you stand on this? These two comedians, funny or foul?
It's so funny that you accidentally called him David Chappelle just now, but really, he's so obsessed with trans people, I think his name should be Davina, because clearly he wants to transition himself. I mean, he is absolutely obsessed. Listen, Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais are both incredible comedians. They have historically been brilliant. Afterlife is great. Dave has used his comedy to punch up by attacking oppression, bringing a light to racism, joking about why he doesn't call the police. So he knows how to use comedy to point out oppression and punch up. He's holding people accountable. So why now is he punching down? In my opinion, I think Dave Chappelle has cheapened his act.
Paula, here in the studio, Ricky Gervais said today he's playing a character when he's on stage. Do you agree with that? Do you buy it?
No, I don't. And I have to say, it is disappointing, because for somebody who is so intelligent, so erudite, knows the power of language, the power of words, to have become so basic and simplistic in his comedy is disappointing. And it is basic and simplistic. And if you're talking about building bridges, if you're talking about bringing communities together, how is it that you are basically poking your finger at one particular community? And when you talk about, making fun of sick children, of dying children, I just wonder how desperate you have to be to do that. And we've got there's been a poll now that's just been commenced, I think, by a mother whose son sadly had cancer, but I think is now better. And it's over 13,500 people who have signed up to her poll to hopefully get that joke removed from Netflix. And I can understand why she's doing that.